broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
All right, hello AfterBuzz TV Nation, Bachelor fans, welcome to the Bachelor After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe at youtube.com/AfterBuzz TV. And if you want the audio version, go to iTunes or SoundCloud. And of course, chime in live with #ABTV Bachelor and let us know what you think. Danny, you're mixing my levels and I love it.
I can't hear you at all. I was just making sure I couldn't hear you.
Oh, you turned mine up.
It's loud. It's loud.
A minute 8 in and the show's gone off the rails.
That's why we don't tweet before the show and we fix our levels.
And if you want, make sure to tweet us. And let us start with introductions. I'm your host, or sometimes traffic cop, JC Rubio, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at JC Rubio TV. And of course, joining me, our awesome co-host, starting with the lovely lady to my left.
Hey guys, I'm Lauren Solomon. You can find me on Twitter at LaurenSOL and on Instagram at LaurenSOL. And to you.
Guys, my name is Danny Hoyt.
It's so loud.
Is it really that loud?
Is yours really?
I had JC and then you dropped out.
There we go. There we go.
Is that better?
Yes, that's great. Don't touch anymore.
We're professionals. We'll handle it.
We got this. We got this.
My name is Daniel Jacob Hoyt. I go by Danny Hoyt on the Instagrams, the Twitters, the Vines, the YouTubes, all of it.
Nice.
Yeah. Perfect.
And of course, the Cupcake Queen who just came back from Japan.
Yes. You can find me on Twitter at Cathy Kelley, and you can find me on Instagram at Cathy Kelley, which is my name.
All right.
There we go.
Guys, we're going to keep this short.
But that's not all.
Yes, because we have 5 hours to recap, but we're not done. We have a very, very special guest in-house tonight, a friend of some of our panel, but of course, so I'm not at the luxury to say
All
this.
of our panel yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Now.
I still have to call her Samantha Steffen. I can't call you Sammy just yet. Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for coming in. I mean, you just finished off the season, and we've got so many questions to ask you. And of course, your bird's eye opinion means the most. I mean, honestly, I'm going to shut up half this episode because you're bringing the truth. And guys, we're back, full panel.
Yeah.
Thoughts on,
Welcome back, everybody.
We're here.
Usually I ask thoughts on tonight, but we've got to talk about last night, the Chris Tell All, the heartfelt moments with Andy, and just so much more that just previewing all the stuff we're going to talk about tonight is going to take an hour.
Well, where do you want to start?
Let's start off at the very top. Okay. Let's start off with Kelsey.
Oh, the Kelsey interview.
Yes. First off, Cathy, I can already see you grimacing. What?
It's not a grimace. I just don't think that what she said added or detracted anything from what I think we saw.
Exactly.
Like,
I felt the same way afterwards.
Maybe it changed 1 or 2 people's views on her, but for me, it didn't change anything.
Well, before Danny and Lauren chime in, I want to ask, because you were there. Yeah. You were there with the very first panic attack.
Tell us about Kelsey.
That's the night I went home.
Right.
You know,
what we see is what we get, or was it?
Yeah, I think so. I kind of think so. When she, so before the rose ceremony, there's obviously a lot of footage you don't see, but I kind of asked her, I was like, so do you feel confident? Well, she asked me, do you feel confident about getting a rose tonight? And I was like, well, not really. And even if I did feel 100% certain that I was getting one, I don't think I would ever say that, And I asked her back, and she's like, absolutely, I'm going to get one. And I just kind of thought, oh, man, I don't know. I just felt like a little bit of ingenuineness in her, I guess. I'm just not. So when she fainted that night, I felt so bad. Her story's so sad. I feel for her so much. But at the same time, I was just kind of like, oh man, I hope that I don't leave because of this, because I really am here for sincere reasons and want to, have the time with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I did want to ask that. I know we were going to get into it a little bit later, but it seemed to me that you did not get a lot of screen time. And
that's because
she's getting a lot on AfterBuzz TV.
That's right, right here at AfterBuzz.
But this is
there's a reason for that.
I think it's a compliment to you, though.
It is a good thing.
No, because from what we gathered, you seem like a very calm, cool, collected type of person who, doesn't necessarily help make a crazy TV show where you have people with the ups and downs.
Right.
You seem very level-headed, and from what I gathered so far, and similar to you, Lauren, with
That's what we talked about last week, actually, that you and I had very similar
Yes, I think we would have been best friends.
We would have been besties. I know it. But I think it's a good. I mean, had you gone farther on the show, I think they would have, given you more airtime, because that always happens too. But if you're leaving mid-season and you aren't the kind of person to talk about other people and what they're doing wrong or say anything, and we're the kind of people. I mean, we didn't say things about other people, and so they didn't use us. Had we been like, "Oh, Kelsey's acting crazy," then they probably would have showed you more.
Right, and I think a lot of people have asked me, like, why did you get the first 5 episodes I got a rose? I think it was 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, like pretty early on, and people are like, well, who's this girl? She's getting a rose, and she's had no time with him.
It was actually a hashtag on Twitter, like, who's Samantha?
Who's Samantha, and a hashtag that's Samantha the next week, and so I had good conversations with him, or obviously I probably wouldn't have got one, and so I did have moments with him, but there's so much footage that they can't show all of that, I think. And then I did, for how long I was there, I really wanted a one-on-one with him, because, I mean, that's the whole reason I was there. I really went on because it was him. And that never happened, unfortunately. So we really never got into, like, deep conversation, unfortunately.
How much time do you think you actually got with him over that course of the 6 weeks that you were there?
Yeah. Not much.
I mean, like an hour?
Equate it to, like, how much would you say, like, if you were dating someone in the real world, how many dates would you equate that to?
I think because I didn't get a one-on-one, I can, like, hardly even answer that. I feel like...
Is it like bar conversation?
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really good nugget of insight for people at home that don't understand what that's really like.
Right. But I mean, I did share, like, a lot of stuff that was important to me, and had my moments where I did get to share some stuff that wasn't shown.
Sure.
But if I would have had a one-on-one, I think we would have gotten to know each other a lot more, and I left not knowing enough about him, just that he's a good, sincere guy, and I wish I would have known more, but that's okay. I think looking back, like, I'm so happy in my life right now, and everything happens for a reason, and I look at, like, who we ended up with, and I think it couldn't be more perfect, and so I'm happy for them, and when it comes down to it, I think we probably were more compatible as friends anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. There's the scene where you guys were in the kitchen, and Becca was sitting across the table. You were behind the breakfast table in the kitchen, and you guys were talking about how, I believe it was Kelsey had just come back from talking to him, and she wasn't in the room, and you're talking about how she was using her story. I believe it was Kelsey. It was either Kelsey or I can't remember who else had it.
Julia?
But it's Julia. That's what it was.
Yeah, I remember sitting next to
And they referenced that, and this just goes to show how close you got with the girls and not with Chris, but they reference, Sam's had stuff happen in her life too, and had ups and downs that she's not using as a story to get to know Chris, or not using to get a sympathy rose. I just thought that was interesting, because we know you, we're friends with you in real life, and we know how awesome and incredible of a human. We said it on our top of the first show this season, how great you are.
Thank you.
And I don't feel like America really got to see that.
Thank you so much.
Well, I think that's tough. It's frustrating in a way.
It is.
But at the same time, like you said, the end result is, if you knew that, then that's okay. It's not about you. It's about finding what you went there to find.
Right.
I always wanted to ask this question. Is there something you wish America would have gotten the opportunity to see, a side of you?
I think when we filmed the interview before the show actually like really started taping, I talked a lot about my family, and I talked about that with him too, and that's what's most important to me, and what I want out of life, and that I was here for sincere reasons. And I guess just those conversations and interviews that weren't shown, probably. But it's okay. Like, I went on it just to know him. There's no other reason, so I don't mind that I wasn't shown or anything.
Yeah, that's great. That's
and
great.
like what we said, it's a treasure having you here tonight.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
definitely.
We rooted for you. We liked you from the start. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's finish up with Kelsey.
I didn't get to see this. My DVR didn't record this, so I didn't get to see this. So you guys, like, I fill me in. The only thing I missed was the tell-all in these interviews.
Yeah. She did say at the women tell-all it was going to be a crucifixion.
I saw that in the preview, and I'm just bummed I missed my favorite
missed that
human,
too.
Andy
I'm bummed.
Dorfman. I missed her.
The parts that I didn't like about her interview is she's like, oh, I don't want people to think that I'm smarter than them, or that I think that I'm smarter than them, and she was using all these big words intentionally. I think she does it on purpose.
She does.
And it bugs me.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
So just stop yourself. It's like she's got to know she's doing that.
It's like pathologically lying. You're saying things that are opposite of what you're actually doing. That's a pathological liar.
Yeah.
That's a psychological
I mean, she's
issue.
not lying about it. She is smart. She's very eloquent. But I think that she's trying to come off as that she's not doing that when she is.
And I think exactly, like we said this last week on the show, but she was doing that in her interview before. She was like, I'm smart, I'm eloquent. And she was saying that in an interview.
I'm not saying I'm better than the other girls.
Yeah, she said that. She's done that multiple times. I'm like, if you're so smart, don't say it on camera. You know, you don't want to do that.
People can see that.
Exactly.
But in her defense, I have to state this. Sean Lowe actually gave an interview to I believe it was the Toronto Star this past week, and he actually mentioned that sometimes the producers can lead you a certain way. However, she did say what she did say. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you want to take that, because actually when Chris had this interview with Kelsey, I believe it was before the last episode aired between Ashley I and their 2-on-1 date.
Yeah.
So that's why it seemed a little weird. I don't know if you noticed that, Cathy.
I mean, I'm just gonna say I don't think the producers are in charge of her Twitter, which is also just as.
Oh, I haven't checked that out.
Just as
really
weird.
Okay.
Let's just go with that word.
Yeah.
So we're left with. So our word for that one-on-one was weird.
Yeah.
I just didn't see the point of it.
Yeah,
it didn't make sense to me as to why they had it on there.
Yeah, Ashley and Kelsey's or the interview.
The interview.
No, that's the only thing I missed.
Yeah, that's the thing I missed too. So.
Why not
think
say
they're
that
just
for
trying
the women tell all?
I think they're just trying to like build up some anticipation for the Ashley I and Kelsey thing.
And you said that it was actually taped before this episode aired, so she hadn't seen her panic attack play out and America kind of turning against her.
I don't know if she did not see the panic attack, but she definitely did not see the 2-on-1 date.
Okay.
And that's why she even said, am I controversial? She said it. And it was peculiar. And I noticed this with each interview, and it's, call me a nerd, I noticed that she and Andy were really teary-eyed even before the interview started.
Yeah.
If you go back
Chris
and watch
Harrison. Doing his job.
Even before they started.
Yeah.
So it just, a lot of stuff going on here. So, but I know we've got so much to cover.
Let's dive into that.
Let's dive into. Do we really want to get into what Chris's tell-all?
No.
He didn't say anything.
He just, it was that was all a recap.
It was. It really was. I mean, there was nothing except for the Ashley S. moment where she found out about the gambling or something. It was so off the top of my head. I wasn't even paying attention.
I can't even remember what that was.
Ashley S. went on this little mission to find out. She was always...
Oh, yeah.
Actually...
That they're betting behind.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Give us
Okay.
Supposedly, what Ashley S. would do is just go wander off.
Oh, now I remember what you're talking about. Okay.
She would wander off and found out that they were betting on...
No, she didn't find out. She thought she was drunk and she thought that they were betting on who was going to win or get the rose.
You mean
or something like that. No. It was. I think it was just at a rose ceremony. She wandered off after her interview, or the producers let her wander, and she saw one of the trailers that they had all the production equipment set up in. She thought that it was a gambling facility to gamble on the girls.
How did I miss it?
She was eating craft services, on the
you were in
cruise.
the house,
so
clearly.
Right. I don't know how I missed that, but you know what?
You're on your best behavior.
I want to meet her.
She's so entertaining. So I have nothing bad to say about her.
They also showed some of her interview, right? Wasn't it?
Yes,
the
her
interview?
very normal audition.
Yeah, she was very normal.
Very well spoken.
Whether it was her just being sarcastic or.
But
gotta have the entertaining.
These little moments, but let's
So I
get
missed
into
mostly things we already know. Got it. All right.
But you missed.
I'll watch it.
This is important.
Andy Dorfman's interview, which took me by surprise. Because Andy's always very, very. I don't want to. She's not measured, but she's very just eloquent.
She's calculated. She knows what she's doing.
Exactly, but you didn't get this, Andy. She was heartbroken, shattered.
Well. it could be calculated.
It could be.
I'm just saying, I genuinely do believe her.
Me too.
I'm saying it could be calculated, but I genuinely did believe her in that moment, her being hurt. She had that platform. I mean, one of our listeners, E. Scott McDougall, he tweeted us, and I'm reiterating what he said, but she had that platform to bash Josh, and she didn't. She said, she's like, I feel like I'm a failure. I wanted this to work. I didn't think that this was my soulmate. I knew this was my soulmate, and so that's why it's so crushing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, any thoughts, Lauren? You saw the interview as well.
Yeah, I didn't really know. I mean, I don't talk to Andy too much, but I knew she was heartbroken. I didn't realize. I mean, she definitely. It seemed genuine, and I'm actually not even sure what happened with Josh and Andy. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I felt for her for sure.
What they said in the interview was that each one of them weren't really pushing each other. It felt like they weren't there for each other, helping them progress.
Oh yeah,
grow.
they both have like really like type A personalities, and which is so odd. Like Andy's very and Josh has a really strong personality too. So I can see how that wouldn't work with them.
What struck me most, I think, throughout the interview was that she felt she let everyone down.
Yeah.
And I mean, that stood up to me.
That's so hard to, if you think about, in a normal breakup, you might feel that from, you know, your family or your friends or your community, but this is America.
Yeah.
She feels like she's being judged by America. Her entire relationship was on display.
Sure.
And to have that public of a breakup is something that I don't think any of us can really imagine.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, I guess, to keep it together. But I mean, so many end up breaking up. You know, it's like you can't try to please America. You know, just
there's still a pressure.
Oh, for sure.
And sure. I mean, she did actually have those feelings, which I do believe she did. You're also hurting, along with everyone either taking his side or your side, and they don't even know who you are.
Yeah, I know, it's got to be really tough.
Now, you're fresh coming off of this, Sammy. Can I say Sammy?
Yeah.
Yes!
Sammy, Samantha.
What are your thoughts on that? You know, because I guess in a sense, you guys are all part of a family.
Yeah.
So, any perspective, any thoughts on what we saw with Andy last night?
Unfortunately, that's the only thing I didn't see, and I'm gonna watch it. I hope it's online somewhere. But I agree with what Cathy just said. I think that I just put Cathy and Kelly together. Callie, my dog. No, sorry. I agree completely with, like, it's got to be. You're not just your family. It's not just, you know, like, it's everybody watching you. But then again, I don't think you can listen to any of that. You have to do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So.
Well, hopefully, you know, I think she did say it was her first real heartbreak, which is really hard. So, but she'll get through it. You know, time heals everything. It's going to be okay.
Could we see her as possibly coming back as Bachelorette?
Did you hear a rumor or something that was maybe happening?
I don't.
It's too soon.
It's way too soon. Like I wouldn't want to watch that just because she's heartbroken. Like she's already been in. Like maybe later.
I don't think she would do it again. Honestly, like I don't know her at all, but I don't think she would do that again. Just because if she does want to be taken seriously as a DA, like people.
Would ABC do it again?
I don't know.
Maybe they did. Brad Womack got a second chance.
You guys, I'm trying to campaign for Claire. Claire for Bachelorette.
Okay.
We've been talking. Me and Renee, we're trying to get it going.
I like
hashtag Claire for Bachelorette. Let's get the hashtag going.
I think we should jump into the episodes here.
Let's do that. So overall thoughts on last night's 7th episode, which we start out with what happened with Megan, who decides just to pull out. I mean, you were there in the house. I mean, what happened? Because Megan and Chris had such a strong start, I thought, or what we saw.
Right.
Where did it just
totally
dissipate?
saw that too. I honestly thought she would be one of the last ones, if not end up with him.
Really?
So I think when I found that out and I heard that from her, I was just like, oh my gosh, really?
Oh,
you know,
they would be cute together.
Yeah, I agree. I think they would have been really cute together. Yeah. So I don't know. It was surprising to me too when that happened.
So there's no explanation, just the fact that
I think it's just because
they weren't growing.
Hard, that, and then like hard to see him with other girls, which I totally would. I felt this. I mean, I get that.
And that's a perfect explanation on this episode, because basically this is where we start seeing Brit's meltdown. I mean, or what appears to be a meltdown, where we saw this all season long. She always needed that reassurance, and it seemed like they were always in sync. I mean, from Big and Rich the week before, and now did that lead to her demise? That insecurity of them knowing that this is how the game is played. And
I think it made me feel like she hadn't watched The Bachelorette or The Bachelor before. You cannot get every rose. You cannot.
Here's my thing with it. I think that what she felt was fair. I think you're allowed to feel that. I just think she's watched the show, she gets it, but nobody knows how to prepare for that feeling. There's no real world scenario outside of the show that you prepare for that feeling of watching someone and having to be okay with what they're doing. That happens in the real world, but there's no scenario where you go in understanding that's going to happen and expecting it to, so there's no way to prepare for that. So I think what she felt was fine. I think even some of the way she said it to him, through tears, and it's just there's no way to know how you're going to act until it happens, and it happened, and unfortunately she acted in a way that kind of made Chris do this.
I don't think that was the right time for her to do it. I think that she should have. She could have easily pulled him aside then, as opposed to at the rose ceremony, instead of doing it in front of the other two girls.
That's what made it bad.
Not like a temper tantrum, but it looked bad on her.
Yeah, and it made them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like it was just so awkward.
But I appreciate that Kaitlyn spoke up and said something and called her out. And it wasn't in a hurtful way. It wasn't in a mean way. But she let her know as a friend, like, you made me feel uncomfortable.
You made me. I mean, Brit was essentially in that moment saying that she was better than both Kaitlyn
That's what
and
it came
Carly.
off like.
That's what it came off as like, oh, I'm the best. Chris is going to choose me. You guys are just a technicality.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't say those exact words, but that's how I felt as a viewer.
It seemed selfish to me. It was, she's in her own. She's just thinking about her and Chris and forgetting that there's other people in this competition.
I don't think that it was selfish. I think that she was in a bubble. I think that she developed this relationship with him so strong right off the bat, and the other people were catching up, and that's what, like, she saw that and she started comparing herself to other girls. She needed that validation, and he wasn't going to give it to her because he was developing feelings for other people as well.
And he literally can't.
Yeah.
Like, producers would not let him do that.
That's not true, because Brad Womack gave Emily so many validations throughout the season.
He did, but he can't give every rose. He can't give, they have to switch it up. Like, it's not always his choice or his or her choice.
I feel like that was Chris's choice, though.
It probably was.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It was just frustrating that she was expecting every single reassurance.
Sorry, last thing. The last thing that I wanted to say about that was the way, like we were talking about how everyone has their own story. She kind of made it sound like meeting her family was more important than any of the other girls' families. And that's what I thought was part of the bad thing, because I don't know. I mean, like, that's a big deal to meet someone's parents, any of those girls. And she was saying it like hers was the only one that
it's
mattered.
important to everyone there. That's why I said it came off kind of selfish.
Becca's never introduced a guy to her family in her life.
Yeah.
That's a big deal to her.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll keep going all day.
No, I'm enjoying it.
That's why we have a moderator to like.
I want to know your thoughts on that. I mean, was it fair or foul? I mean, because honestly, on one hand, yes, you have to be considerate about everyone's feelings, but then let's take, for instance, Courtney Robertson. She was there for Ben.
Yeah.
And let's just say Brit was there for Chris. Is it fair or foul? Your thoughts?
Good point. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Cathy again. I think that you go into the situation, you can never prepare yourself enough for it. You don't really know what it's going to be like. But I do think, like, she's beautiful. She got the first impression rose. They really hit it off at first. So maybe not feeling like the front runner in that moment kind of freaked her out. I don't really know. But at the same time, if I was in that position, I would have probably taken Chris aside or not, it's obviously just as important, their families too. So I don't know. I totally agree
I'm not saying that her feelings are wrong. I feel like everyone's been there in that moment. If someone that you're dating is dating multiple people, like, you want to be the one who they end up with, obviously. Like, if you like that person,
it's just the way
it's the way that she handled it is what I disagree with.
Yeah, in front of everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
We kept getting a lot of messages in these last two nights. And Danny, you even said it. How many times does Jade have to say
Playboy.
Yes.
So
That's
she's
producers.
I'm gonna argue with that too.
Well, let's start off with the date
That's
because
producers.
That's 100% producers. They're just doing the audio over
They're like,
and over.
oh wait,
They're
we
like,
didn't get that right. Can you say that again?
yeah, say
one
it
more
again,
time?
say it again. We're gonna use it here. We're gonna use it there.
And they do that for specific reasons. So when she does tell him, like she did tonight, the impact is that great for not just Chris, but all of us watching.
Exactly.
Those armchair bachelorettes and bachelors watching.
Yeah.
And last night they started with this date where he took her to the hometown, he took her to Arlington, and she was even shocked because she comes from a small town herself, and I mean,
It was even smaller.
it was population 400.
Yeah.
But you could see the train coming.
Yeah.
Like you could
Literally,
see,
because there's nothing there. There's no buildings to watch, so you can see the train.
The whole train.
all right.
Well, you were friends with her.
Jade, yeah,
throughout
she's
this.
the sweetest girl.
Yeah,
I love
she
her.
seems
Did
sick.
she like have reservations before going into this?
Did you
Like,
know?
did you?
No, nobody knew.
What were your thoughts on Arlington? Because I'm sure you had thought about it at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I never researched it or anything
Yeah.
like that because I believe
didn't
like
know,
whoever
yeah.
you fall in love with, you
Yeah.
can move anywhere and be happy. But yeah, I didn't. I mean, watching it, I didn't expect it to be that small. I guess
didn't
I probably
either.
would have been in shock too.
Yeah.
But then again, if you're in love with someone, like I said, it doesn't matter where you live.
Right.
And even Chris was you sense this insecurity that he has of living in Arlington.
Well, and then he finally said it. He
Yeah.
said it's his biggest insecurity.
yeah.
Because girls, he said he's dated girls, and that's been the downfall.
Yeah.
Like, it's been the hurdle that has stopped their relationships from progressing further is Arlington.
Sure.
I thought it was so
Totally.
sweet
Yeah.
that Jade made him feel good about. where he
Yeah,
came
that I really
Yes.
loved
So,
that
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's a good moment.
So fans of the date, yes, but I got to keep us moving because I have to move to the next date.
Yeah.
Which was one of my all-time favorite dates.
Which one?
Whitney.
Yeah.
Whitney. And it
Oh
wasn't.
yeah, that's cute.
It wasn't what they did. It's just the energy
the
between them.
chemistry.
Yes.
It looked like an engagement photo shoot.
Exactly, I
When
was
they
like,
showed the pictures, it
is this
looked like a
foreshadowing?
couple that's actually in love. I wanted to say about Whitney, she was so classy throughout her entire date, and that's a perfect example of everyone has bad things that have happened to them in their life, and that has shaped them. And finally, like, she didn't make it a big deal to tell him the first week or the second week or the third
Exactly.
week. She did it when the timing was right for their relationship
Yep.
because it wasn't her story. It was her opening up to her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Right.
She didn't let her story define her.
Exactly. And yeah, that's the perfect
Yeah.
example of, like, she saw these other girls, you know, who
Exactly.
have also had things, and she didn't feel like she was better than them or she needed to share this sooner. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not better, but she just didn't let her story dictate the path of their relationship.
Yeah.
She let their relationship take its own path, and like you said, it was a great point. When the timing's right, you introduce it if it feels right, and if it's necessary to continue down the path.
Yeah.
But you don't have to show all your cards at the beginning because that's not relevant at that point. That changes things.
Exactly.
Like when you're dating someone out in the real world. You know, it eventually comes out as you grow and get to learn.
Sure.
When you feel comfortable with them.
Yeah.
You know, and she said something great where she said, you can fall in love in a moment. And that was her big takeaway from that night, from that date. And there's just this quiet assertiveness about her. I don't know if it's the maturity.
She's strong and vulnerable, as they said.
Right.
Which is perfect. The perfect.
I was kind of bummed because the mural, I thought it was so cute, but it didn't look like her face. They painted it so I feel like it could look like any of the top four. Did you notice that? No.
I didn't.
I was kind of upset because I feel like that she should at least have that.
Yeah.
She should have one mural forever.
At least she loved it. She was ecstatic
yeah.
about it. I loved her reaction. I thought it was so sweet.
And Sammy, what's been your interaction? What was it like with Whitney in the house? I mean, I'm sure you guys spent many moments together.
We did, and when we went to Santa Fe, we were roommates, so we really got to know each other
nice.
really well, as you probably know.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, she's a doll. She's so sweet.
I'm trying to see if she has a tell. I'm trying to see if I know you know the end. But we do not watch spoilers here, so I'm just like I'm trying to read her face.
Don't make
No,
her
I
get in
won't.
trouble.
Oh no, you wouldn't. Even if you asked me a million times, I wouldn't give it away.
I will say, we were in the kitchen and I made her tea before we watched tonight, and we're chatting, and she gives off nothing.
What if somebody accidentally dropped information on AfterBuzz TV? And it was live, and everybody.
think ABC would wipe out AfterBuzz.
Yeah,
That'd be great for you guys, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Our ratings would spike.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So, and also let's move on to, well, do we really need to discuss the group date? Because I think we pretty much, yes, Cathy.
No, I just wanted to say that the last part of the date was at West End Architectural Salvage, which is where I used to shoot my DIY segments when I was on ABC Des Moines. So it was like,
So did you feel
oh my
like you're
gosh, I
part
was
of the
there. No.
Are we done, Cathy?
Yeah.
All right.
I just
Moving on.
That is cool. That's cool.
No. So now, for the last 3 weeks now, we don't get a rose ceremony. We get these
What the
cliffhangers.
heck?
Are we okay with this?
You know what? I'm okay with it in the sense of it's just nice to switch it up and do something different. The first week, the second week, this was a little like, okay, I get it. I don't need this pattern anymore.
Yeah, I think they're done with it now.
And if you notice it, it's almost going to be like, I'm going to morph into the next episode because, in a sense, the next episode was the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, what are they? I know they're trying to keep us on our toes, but it's driving me crazy, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, now, should we get into Becca's date?
Let's get into Becca's date.
Do you want to get into Becca's
Let's
date?
talk about Becca's
Danny, 'cause I know Danny, Cathy, you guys have a great friendship with her. So, what did
I actually don't know her. I mean, I think she's a
I
great
don't
girl.
know.
We have mutual friends. I don't know her personally. I've never met her.
Let's get her in.
But
One
Danny
day.
is
One
friends
day.
with her. So
Okay. Danny?
I would just like to clarify that.
Samantha,
Yeah.
you and Becca are very close.
Yeah.
No, so tell
It's
us.
so crazy though that you knew her, because on the show we kind of mentioned that we had gone to the same church, and she mentioned your name, and I was like, wow.
In front of the
We have
cameras?
mutual friends.
Why
Well,
didn't you
everything's in front of the camera.
Why did it air?
But it's just so random that came up that we had mutual friends.
Yeah, that
you
is
know?
random. Yeah, no, it's cool. And I don't know how we all never hang, because I met her at the beach, which is where you and
I know, and that's what she said. We talked about all of that, yeah.
Yeah, it's super random. But I love it. It's cool, small
How crazy
moments.
would have that been though if we had met before? And then
How
met each
crazy
other?
would it be if you guys made it to the end at the same time?
Oh
If
my
that
God, that
hypothetical
would've been
situation-
friend
If right
versus
now we're talking about you and Becca, yeah, that would have been very interesting. But instead, you're on our couch, and we have exclusive time with you.
No, you miss me. No, and even a super fan is even talking about the fact that, in a sense, it felt like this episode started 30 minutes late.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great point. Great analogy.
It's
Whoever you are.
Joseph Boza.
Joseph
Joseph
Boza.
Boza.
I mean, go figure.
Yeah,
Joseph, great analogy.
all of the hometowns felt rushed.
Yeah, and do
We
we
get to see the families
That's
as much.
true.
Are
Yeah.
we missing something? Yeah, because we usually have like those fun moments with the family at the dinners, all the families.
Or the dad like pressuring them.
And sometimes
Yeah.
those are tells to
Yes.
that it went better than expected, and there's nothing they want to show because they don't want to give away
Yeah.
perhaps something later.
Right, so let's get into thoughts on Becca and the family and going to Louisiana and croc hunting and whatnot.
Well, Brit leaving too.
Oh, I forget.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
Oh, yeah, that did happen. huh?
Honestly,
That
I think
happened.
that it said a lot to the other girls about what Chris was feeling, and he came back and he was very adamant about it. He's like, I want a wife.
Yeah.
And the second that I saw these things, I knew that, you know, she was a great girl, but she wasn't for me.
I have a question.
I don't know if he said it as eloquently as that.
Girls,
but-
and I'm gonna ask this to
As I
Samantha,
did,
but you
'cause I'm
guys
so
can. I'm gonna ask that to Samantha, but you guys can chime in. So if a guy says that, like when Chris says, "I want a wife," he kind of changed gears and his intensity was upped. If a guy says that, does that reassure feelings? You think for the girls standing in the room that, okay, he means business?
Absolutely.
Because they saw the red flags with Brit, and he didn't necessarily see it. So once he recognized it, and the narrative changed, does that up the ante? Does that reaffirm his feelings?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, he said that a couple times before rose ceremonies when I was there as well, and it makes the whole mood of the room change, and it's like, this is serious.
Well, was that something that you saw too, as two sides to Brit? Because I feel like we kept on seeing it referenced from the girls, but we never really saw it as a viewer until this past week.
You know, she's beautiful, and I'm not
she's
one to
drop-dead
say
gorgeous,
anything
yeah.
bad about anybody. It's just not my character. However, I'm truthful, and so there is something at first that I felt that, like, you know, when you feel tension with someone,
Yeah.
and I don't normally feel that with like a lot of people at all
Get
ever, and
along
I
with
just
everyone.
Yeah.
thank you, and I just feel like there was a sense of like it didn't seem
Tension.
genuine.
Yeah.
Like something was off. Something was definitely off. And I tried to be nice to her and friends with her, and
That's all you can do, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I know my intentions were really sincere to get to know him, and I just wasn't sure about hers. But,
right. Yeah.
But not saying anything bad.
Yeah. No.
and once again, we see that it turns on a dime again because the whole season, Chris and Becca it's the Chris and Becca show.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's done. I mean, that's what I have a hard time. I'm sorry, Brit, forgive me. Thank you, Danny. It's hard for me to digest that just that.
We did feel like that.
Yes, but at the same time, think about real life. There are so many relationships, either if you've experienced them or you've seen friends experience them, where they're so fast and furious at the beginning, and then they end just as fast.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's what it was, is it was a lot of attraction and lust, and they did get each other, but they didn't delve deep into what really matters.
Exactly.
Danny, I can ask you this. So as a guy, can we just shut it off like that? That lust. Because it was lust between them.
He kissed her when she left, He kissed
Jade as well.
Right. I saw that.
But he kissed both of them on the lips.
He kissed Jade on the cheek.
Are you sure?
He kissed her on the lips.
Yeah. He got some lip.
I think that you can shut off the idea of it. If you are a mature guy, you can shut off the progression of it in your mind as far as the physical. It doesn't mean that you lose all feelings, but you can shut off allowing yourself to express the feelings in a physical way. And I think that's what Chris did, because we've seen Chris, although sometimes he's dry and doesn't say a lot, and we don't see emotions and him articulate things well, we see Chris make decisions that are respectful and honest and honorable. And I think that's what he did with Brit. He knew, obviously she's a beautiful girl. I mean, girls think it, guys think it, but there's something there, and so he made a decision. And even though he probably still had feelings, you saw him close his eyes, and as we've seen him do several times, he takes a deep breath, he collects himself, and that was kind of his okay, next chapter.
Right.
Well said. And I have to say, this is a cute button to what you just said.
A cute button to what I just said?
A cute button to what you just said. Chithra, I just lost her name. She says, Danny for Bachelor.
Who's this girl? Okay, make sure. I want to write her thank you
Get her info.
Let's get her name. Her name is Chithra Asokan.
Chithra Asokan.
Start a hashtag Danny for
Thank
Bachelor.
you so much.
Hashtag Danny for
No, for real, that means a lot. I really appreciate that.
So sweet.
I did want to backtrack to Brit for 1 second. One of my friends sent me a video yesterday of a short film that she was in. And that's one thing that I think raised red flags for me. Like, I thought this might just be editing, but I've always said, I understand, people go on the show for whatever reason, but I've always thought that they stay away from actresses. And the fact that she was acting and this might have just been one thing, that it was a friend or college or whatever, but that just kind of raised a red flag for me.
What was her label on the show or her job?
Waitress.
Oh, waitress.
Living in
because
LA,
a lot of people
if you're
are
a waitress, you're an actor.
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, but not really. I mean, Courtney Robertson was a model, and she had it was on commercials and whatnot as
and
well.
now she's a New York Times best-selling author.
Not all models
Thanks
are
to The Bachelor.
actresses, though.
I know that, but
Yeah. She was, though.
I know.
Yeah, but I'm sure there have been quite a few. I mean,
Actually,
looking
she
back,
wasn't. No, she was very nice when she came in on our
She's
show.
wonderful.
She was
Fantastic.
That's what I heard.
We still chat. We're still friends. She's
Yeah,
great.
that's what I've heard. No, I'm just saying there are a lot of people, girls and guys, that have been in the entertainment industry, I guess. So actress or reporter or whatever. They just usually don't use that job occupation because they do they do try to stay away from actors and actresses.
But hosting, at least you're yourself.
That's true. Yeah.
And with acting, I mean, you could potentially be leading on The Bachelor or Bachelorette with fake feelings to promote yourself.
Of course.
That's what I don't like.
I want to ask you, but I'm not going to put you in that position. So
Yeah.
that's not fair. Let's move on to the next thing.
Let's move on. We still have to talk about Becca's family and our thoughts and the fact that she had to talk, I believe it was with Katie, her sister. Yeah, about not telling Chris about...
I just want to say something about Katie's conversation.
I'm scared to say it.
Well, yeah, the V word.
The V word.
That was very prominent, more prominent than we've ever seen in any season, the word virgin. I thought it was just awesome their sister equated it to a sugar-glazed donut. How awesome was I've never heard that in my life, but it was funny.
It was.
But kind of accurate that was going to be the most excitement you'd see.
I think it's sweet.
Well, no, not in like a cheese, Cathy. Not in that way. I just mean... What'd you just say? What was that word? Can you say
Moving on. No, but that's also...
I don't mean it like that. I mean that she's equating like the excitement with a donut. Mm-hmm. How exciting
Donuts
a donut
are great.
I love
They
donuts.
are.
I love them.
Awkward silence. Okay,
Guys, I was trying to...
I know, Daniel. No, I got you back, buddy. Now, here's the other thing that was really poignant as well. The fact that she's... I believe, was it the mother that brought up the fact that she's not a very physically expressive person?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit.
That surprised me. I mean, I don't know Becca in that way, obviously, but that surprised me that they would say that, and being in a relationship for 4 years, you just think that's something that naturally happens. But that's interesting, and I guess it makes sense when you hear, that she's a virgin, like that maybe those things just haven't progressed that way.
Or it's just that's not her language of love. Like
Which is
not
fine.
physical or touch. Maybe it's words of affirmation or one of the other ones.
Gifts, acts of service, yeah.
Sure.
It's quality time. It's probably, to me, I would guess quality time just based on what we see with Becca.
Yeah.
And acts of service, I would say.
Or Lauren, could it be the fact that maybe her ex wasn't the one?
I think, she said, I wonder how on and off they were. Because she says 4 years on and off. Like, were they long distance?
Mostly on.
Mostly. Oh, you got... Okay.
No, I just know he is, and he's a fantastic guy.
Yeah.
And they're still friends, which she even says. She's adamant about, which is cool.
Yeah,
It says
that's
a lot
great.
about who she is.
Yeah, but she said she never felt like she was really in love with someone, and she's probably just the kind of person that needs like a deep emotional connection with someone to have that like physical, like want to have that sort of physical relationship.
I have to say that whenever you see a girl, for me, that is in this age range where we are all in same age bracket, and where Becca is, that has said, I haven't said that to someone, I am a virgin. The respect level for me is so high for someone like that.
Yeah, that's what I
think it's really beautiful, and I think that that's something like for Becca. I think that's something that a lot of girls can look up to, and a lot of young girls that watch this show.
Yeah.
I just think that's so stinking phenomenal, and it's something that's lacking a lot.
Stinking phenomenal.
In girls, and I think that Becca is a welcome addition to the show, and I hope we get to see her just excel in life and whatever she does after the show.
Yeah, Chris said that he used the term unusual, that she hadn't brought like a guy home before or hadn't been in love before, and I was thinking the same thing you were. Like, I think that's great. Like, she's waiting for the person that she really, really loves.
If I'm Chris and I'm looking at who's left, and I know this about Becca, the quality level of Becca for me rises to the top. Not that Whitney's less, not that Kaitlyn's less, not that Jade's less. But for me, that's just a different quality of girl, and that's attractive to me. Yeah. Very attractive.
But it also might be that she's just, when, the other girls might have had relationships, happen to have people that they were in love with before, and she just hasn't had someone she's in love with. Yeah. So maybe if she had, she would have slept with someone or been in a different place, It's just...
No, I disagree. You throw the sleeping with someone out there, you throw that as a very loose
You can still be
term. You can still be in love with somebody without doing that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, I totally agree
you threw it out there, so you don't believe that's equated. That's not attached to it.
It's getting very passionate here on the table.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to sleep with somebody.
Okay, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, for sure. No.
Sammy, I want to ask you this because we didn't get to see other sides of you. Mm-hmm. Are there sides of Becca that we haven't gotten to see? What was your interaction? Like, Danny, what are the sides that we have not seen from Becca that we see on the show?
We haven't seen much of Becca until this past week or two.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there something, something about it? Because I haven't seen enough from Becca. I would like to see more. I really would. I want to see if there's that playful side, if there's that balance, because it does seem like she has this, and it's not an issue. It's just the show's making it an issue.
What, like a wall? Like a wall?
No, not a wall. The fact about her V card.
Oh yeah.
The show keeps going there. But there's so much more to her.
Exactly.
And that's what I want to know. I think viewers want to know.
Samantha, give us some insight on that.
I think she's an amazing girl, like beautiful inside and out. We became really, really close. I love her so much. And we still are in touch, but she is fun and cute and sweet, and obviously an amazing family, which I was so excited to watch tonight.
Yeah.
And I think that we kind of see that all. Mm-hmm. I know that they hadn't showed her up to this point that much, but I kind of think that We've all seen that.
I think the clever, funny side of Becca is maybe what we haven't seen as much of. Like she's witty, she's funny, and she gets good humor.
That's what I want to see. You know, and you both of you put it so well about Becca. Now I know more about her. You know, and that's what I want to see. That
like if you follow her on even on Twitter, she tweets funny stuff that's clever. On Instagram, before all this started, when she had like 3,000 followers, now she's got whoever knows how many thousands. But it was just like her friends and who she'd met. She would put stuff that was just funny and with funny captions. That's the side of Becca that I don't feel like hasn't really been able to.
That's very true.
Yeah,
good point.
Be seen.
Hopefully we'll see that next week. Who knows? But definitely now going on to date number 2, Whitney. And this was out in Chicago, and instead of meeting her family, she takes them on a day in her life.
I thought that was funny.
Cool.
Yeah. It's cool.
And it's that take charge. That's what I love about Whit.
Yeah. And she has an awesome job that she's super passionate about, which is so attractive. And he found that really attractive, obviously.
Yeah, it is.
It was cool to see that.
Now, this is an odd question because due to her history and her story, what makes her who she is, I find it peculiar her career. That she helps families create life. You know, that's because she lost her mom and she has no relationship with her father. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that other side, that dynamic where I bring life.
Yeah, I think it's nice for her. It's probably seeing that love and wanting to. I know she's not a part of these families, but wanting to be a part of that and helping these families have that.
Yeah.
Well, and also feeling. You know, in some ways, filling a gap that's missing in her life. Mm-hmm. She's fulfilling it and completing that circle, which again is something that is so attractive to see a quality in somebody that's about more than herself.
Exactly. And wasn't it great the fact when she showed Chris what she did for a living? She was teaching him, and you know we talk about love is about teaching each other.
Yeah,
and she gave him a teaching moment.
He thought it was cool.
Yes,
he genuinely lit up in that moment, and I don't think we've seen him just have these big smiles on his faces. That often.
Well, in this episode, we saw Chris's big smiles in that moment. We also saw him cry later on, which we'll get to. But I want to say something that I thought was really fun when we were watching. And he goes in the room, and she's teasing him about giving a sample. And he's looking around. He's like, "There's all these Playboys in here." And I said out loud, "Oh my God, what if he opens a Playboy and sees Jade?"
Like, oh my gosh. That's what I was thinking too.
I mean, obviously,
mind
that's the
blown.
Oh man. But along with the great moments, there's also the moments of tension with Whitney's sister.
Oh, yeah.
She came across really hard, and it almost seems like some of the family stuff maybe affected her in a more serious way, or just a different way, I guess, than Whitney, because she had a wall up, obviously.
I feel like that eldest sibling almost always takes on the role of parent.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It's just you could see there was a colder shoulder a little bit.
I don't think it's a colder shoulder. I think
maybe
that she's
not the right word.
Just very protective.
And she may see this situation differently. Like, she doesn't want her sister to get hurt. Obviously, no one would want to see someone that they loved get hurt in that way. But she's seeing it from like, okay, on paper, this guy is dating 4 girls. I cannot say I want him to propose to my little sister right now.
Exactly.
Which parents have said before. Moms and dads have said that before.
She did say, when she's the final one, call me.
Yeah, which I liked.
I did like that. I just mean there's an edge to her that Whitney doesn't have. Whitney has a warm, welcoming presence, and I thought that. Not that anything she said was wrong. Her presence towards Chris was very much this and closed eyes. Like if you're Chris, it was kind of a little more like raised eyebrows, as opposed to understanding. Let me look you in the eyes, and I can still say the same words. It was just a little more like this, which says to me maybe she wasn't okay with all of this from the beginning.
And Whitney expressing just how much she wanted her to be okay with it.
Yeah, that was a tough scene to watch.
Yeah, she really. You could.
That's beautiful.
Honestly, I don't know. I felt like it was her sister had experienced heartache, and she didn't want her little sister to go through the same kind of pain that she had gone through in the past. Maybe.
For sure. That could definitely
I think Chris welcomes this. Very similar to what happened last night with Carly warning him about Brit. Someone having his back. He's just
we didn't even talk about Carly leaving.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Carly.
We'll have to get into that. But the fact that loyalty is very important to him. He's talked about trust and loyalty, and you see he likes that. And Sam, you know better than we do. I mean, what were your thoughts about her, Whitney's sister saying is this something that would make Chris perhaps rise to the occasion, like a challenge? Not a challenge.
Yeah. If I was Chris, I would have found that amazing, like an admirable. Because if I was Whitney's sister, I think I would have felt the same way. It's such an odd situation. And she wasn't saying no. Yeah. She just said, call me. And I think I would totally respect that.
Yeah, I really liked what she said. Yeah.
Call me maybe.
Call me maybe.
When Chris, though, was talking to Whitney later, and he's like, oh, yeah, it went great.
Were you? Because you guys were.
No, but yeah. All right.
That dog scene at the end, I can't get out of my head.
That's what I immediately thought of.
Maybe it was a fine conversation, and they just added dramatic music under it to make it sound worse than it was.
I don't know.
Would they do that?
You can edit things to make the conversation sound different.
Of course.
Well, what if we could do that on one of our after shows?
Yeah, let's just like edit our after show to something it's not.
Maybe we can get a rap. Can we get a rap or something? And like with Kaitlyn
to get you the ring. What was his awkward timing when he raps?
Oh, he was so bad
for it. He's the artist formerly known as Prince Farming.
That is Cathy Kelley with her punny.
Please. Can we get that
slow clap?
Hey, that was good. I enjoyed it.
Take it down.
Yes.
We forgot to say this. Speaking of Chris, and he goes, she makes babies with Whitney. I make corn.
That was awesome.
This was also the first time where we've seen him be funny.
Yeah,
he was
we saw a lot more of Chris.
Yeah.
Yes, and let's talk about them rap skills. Yay or nay? Or let's just talk about Kaitlyn. Nay.
I freaking like Kaitlyn. She came up from behind a dumpster.
I love that.
She reminds me, I've said this out loud while we were watching, she reminds me of Catherine.
Yeah.
Oh, Catherine.
I think she reminds me of Ashley Hebert or whatever. Hebert?
Ashley H.
H.
Yes. She reminds me of her. Looks a little bit just because they're both petite, but I think her personality of like there's kind of like that, not rocker chick, but like she's got tattoos. She goes with the flow. Like, she's just very chill.
Like Kaitlyn.
So
she's awesome. Yeah. And I think that she's kind of, if she doesn't end up with Chris, she's definitely getting that edit to be the next Bachelorette.
Yes. Hello. What was that girl's username from earlier?
Chitara.
Chitara, I will sign up if Kaitlyn is the Bachelor.
Oh, there we go.
Will you?
Give us an AfterBuzz exclusive.
Oh my gosh, it'd be so fun to watch.
Danny.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
Danny Hoyt, repeat what you just said.
If Kaitlyn is the Bachelorette, I would sign up.
Yes.
Kaitlyn's awesome.
All right. We're holding you to it.
Yes, we are, my friend. But in the meantime, let's definitely talk about who she's dating. Chris.
Yeah.
All right, so thoughts. Here's the thing.
As of that moment.
What happened to Andy? Is she old news now?
Oh, Andy Dorfman will always be a smoke show. She's hurting. I have to give her space, give her time. And she needs to
Oh my gosh, Danny, you're so in love.
Okay, but I'm gonna support here, Danny, here on this one, because Kaitlyn in Iowa.
She's a free bird. She needs to roam. She's the Mustang, but she's a tamer Mustang. Remember when they were talking about Jade?
Yeah.
I think Kaitlyn's more of the Mustang. I think she's like a tamer, maybe like a Camaro or a Challenger. This is a car reference.
Sammy, you were with Kaitlyn. Come on. Do you see Kaitlyn and Chris? Do you see Kaitlyn in Iowa? Do you think, because from what we see Kaitlyn is just this spark of energy, and Arlington has a population of 400.
Right. I mean, I think that she seems like if she was in love, though, that she would. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's obviously at this point seems to really like him.
For a lifetime.
I think, yes.
But she hearts him.
Yes.
She did say she loved him.
Yeah.
I heart him. Yeah, that was cute.
It was like
funny.
Kaitlyn's way of doing it.
Even her sign didn't say I love him. It said she hearts him.
Yeah, that's true.
Caitlyn hearts Chris.
Say where I see Kaitlyn?
Yes.
Yeah.
I see her on many episodes in the future with
Bachelor
Jimmy
in
Kimmel.
Paradise?
What does this
Her
mean?
Bachelorette show because they had great chemistry.
Oh, they did
on screen, just like not as
That's
like
true.
they're in love, but like they would have great interactions.
I would really like to watch her.
She says Jimmy Kimmel's behind all of this.
Yeah.
He wants her on the show.
Yeah.
She could carry a show, that's for sure.
She could.
All right, so
Meanwhile,
thoughts.
her date, though. I mean, she was on a date. She's still in the running. Let's talk about this. They wrapped in a booth. Her family seems cool. They have houses in Canada. Her mom said houses plural. They live in Phoenix in the winter.
Yep.
I mean,
the second Canadian Bachelorette, if she was.
Yeah.
Jillian.
Yeah.
All right, so now Lauren, does she heart him or does she love him?
I think she's definitely starting to
No.
love him.
Is she in love with Chris?
I don't know. I have no idea. But
play the fence
but if
one
she
way or the other.
is,
What do
but
you
if
think?
she is in love, she's just scared to say it, or she's she's right on that. Maybe she's right on the fence.
She's in Bachelor love.
She's in Bachelor love.
She's in
I think
love
so too.
with the idea of it. She's had so much time to think about him and only him. I think that in the real world, I don't know that she would be there.
She's in love with the Coco Chris? No, damn it.
Best thing ever.
Nuggets of gold,
So
Daddy.
Can I rewind for 1 sec about with Whitney's day? I caught this one thing that was said, and I wrote it down because I just wanted to say it. Chris said when right before they went in to see Whitney's family, he said this is the last time I'm going to see you before that final day.
Yeah, he did say that.
That's what he said.
That's a tease.
And I was like, has he made his decision?
We've been saying this for a while. That was my call for the dark horse.
I just think it's interesting that he said that and that they aired it, because I was like, that seemed really like
they let that
he hesitated before it, but it's okay to say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just was like, whoa.
We didn't see him ask for any other family's permission either.
Oh.
Man, we get me all excited.
We did say that. We said that out loud. We said, why didn't they air any of
Yeah, I mean, they did cut out a lot of, especially with Kaitlyn's family, they seemed hilarious. They seemed like they would be so much fun. I want to have them as my family. I mean, I love my family. But, like, on top of, like, what? Anyways.
You want more family.
Yes. But, yeah, they didn't show much of the family's interaction with him at all.
We do have to move along. We do.
Let's do
for
it.
time. We have to, because we have a lot to talk about with Jade.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jade.
Okay, they've been teasing us for weeks now.
Yeah.
And thoughts on this? Because were you okay with the fact that she asked Chris if he wanted to see the pictures?
I thought that was I don't think that was just, it just wasn't necessary.
His response.
Oh. I don't know.
What do you do?
He didn't know what to do. I think he also didn't know what to expect with the pictures. Like, sometimes...
I mean, when you say Playboy, your expectation level is that it should be here already.
Like, completely naked.
You say Playboy, she said she posed naked. I don't know what else you can expect. Like, how vulgar it can get beyond naked, but you're already naked. Mm-hmm. For me, that would have been so awkward. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have looked. I would have said no. I'm good.
I think it would have been better had he been like, "Oh, it's okay. Like, I don't need to see it." Because she said, "Like, do you want to see him?"
Well, it's weird because he hasn't seen her naked in real life yet.
Exactly.
That's what, like, I would wait for. You know.
Yeah.
It was the intimacy of the moment of, if he's going to be with her in an intimate way.
There are guys that I'm sure would have loved that and would have jumped at that opportunity. I didn't get that vibe from him this episode at all.
No, and you know what? What's weird is she's probably going to get all kinds of offers, and that video is probably all everywhere tonight, and Googled the top, it's probably everywhere. And the thing that's hard is you see this very, very sweet girl who regrets this decision and chose to be honest about it and talk about it, and the show then airs it, and the very thing that she doesn't want her to define her is now going to be something that's elevated. It's going to be Googled tonight a lot. What do you think about this, Samantha? It's tough.
I didn't know anything about. None of us knew that, while taping. But all I know is I love her. She's the sweetest girl ever, and I think that's really brave that she came out and said that to him. Like, if I was him, I would really respect that. I don't know if I would have looked at the pictures either, because I think that intimate thing is more important to wait and see the picture. I mean, in real life, but. I think that I respect her for being open about it, especially at this point, not waiting even longer, because there's more girls left still.
Yeah.
And Chris also took that moment to say, this isn't why I'm with you. This has no bearing. But then I wondered...
She probably second guesses that.
Oh, I'm sure. You're going to play through, you're going to second guess anything. You're going to second guess conversations after you leave, and especially when it's something big that you reveal about yourself. And
then you go home that same week. Yeah.
I just have to wonder what he said afterwards, because he had a few days to reflect between that and the rose ceremony. His sister's conservative Iowa, those things. Did that play in hand?
I'm sure it did. And that's not saying that she isn't a great girl. It's just she's not the girl for him.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it is.
It just compounds how difficult this moment must have been.
Sure.
As he said, this was the toughest night ever for him, and that he was in love with more than one.
Too. He was emotional.
But he said he was in love with more than one person. So I wonder who that is.
Are you asking for
No, I'm just wondering, because he may not be in love with all three that are left, but
probably not.
More than
Going
one.
back to the Kaitlyn, I heart this, or I heart Chris. He said, "I love it," and that's the only time we've heard him say "love."
Yeah. But
really?
Do you think he said "I love you" and edited over an it?
No, he can't say "I love you," but I feel like when you're dropping those little hints, like in a normal relationship. I feel like before you say I love you, you're like, oh, I love pizza.
I love you, pizza.
You're so right. I've never thought about that.
I love all these things you do for me, but it's not like I love you.
Your face.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like you go through these little things because you want to say it, but you
That's
can't.
so funny because I've actually done that. Where I'm like,
I didn't think about it until you said it. Yeah.
That was mine. Your face. Literally done that. That's funny.
You guys are terrible.
We did talk about or delve into Becca saying it as her. I don't know, or
Please.
No, I mean I feel like we talked about Kaitlyn saying it, but we didn't really talk about the other girls talking about their feelings and as they're progressing and.
Yeah.
Did Becca say she loves him?
No, but she was saying that she could see herself in love with him.
Okay.
And then Whitney obviously saying it that much. Being in that situation, Whitney looked terrified to say it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was so cute, though. Yeah. She was so genuine. I loved it. I was like, that is so adorable.
Here's something we haven't touched upon. Which family do you think Chris would fit in with best? Because he said how important family is to him. So who do you see him with? Which family?
Family-wise, I have to say Becca's.
I see it with Becca's too.
Family-wise, I have to say Becca's.
Really? I could see him fitting in with all three, honestly. In different ways. And that's the same thing as the girls. I could see him with all three of the top three girls in different ways. Mm-hmm. They are all so completely different, but...
Which is truest to Chris, though? Because what you're saying is he molding to each one of these women?
Whitney or Becca, honestly.
Okay.
Wow. That's a prediction.
Sorry, yeah.
But let's move on to this ceremony, actually. And did you guys notice when we were down to, it was between Jade and Becca? Mm-hmm. Jade, you could see her face.
Yeah, she knew.
She knew.
She said damn right after.
Yeah, she said damn.
I feel like she knew last week. She thought she was going home last week.
Oh, okay.
She did.
I didn't notice that.
And you look at her, I hate to say arc, because this isn't a scripted show. This is someone's life, and these are people's lives and whatnot. From the Cinderella date and the football date and all these moments. She met Chris's parents, and for it to end like this, it just... Her journey was... I just said journey. But her journey was just from polar ends. I mean, God bless her, and... You see how beautiful she really is. I really, like Cathy said it earlier, her previous ill decisions, it's unfortunate because I just see a beautiful person. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So any other thoughts?
Agreed.
We didn't talk about Carly.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
I did. One thing that I noticed this season is the girls seem to be celebrating more when someone leaves, and
it's weird.
It seems off-putting as a viewer. Yes, I understand that these girls might not have been the nicest in the house, and you're forced to spend time with them, but that just seemed... You don't need to celebrate in that. And Carly did that a lot. I do side with her as a viewer that I think that she did it I don't know.
Well,
Celebrating certain things was a little bit off for me.
To agree with what you're saying, I think for me, my opinion on Carly changed watching the way she talked and reacted and handled her feelings regarding Brit. And when Brit left and was outside crying, she's like, I don't feel bad for her at all. And then
I
went
think
into
that was edited before.
But even then, she went into her ITM and said, it's been, it's fun to watch her squirm a little bit.
I think that was before Brit left. I think it was like, oh, the rose ceremony's happening now. Brit's squirming because she hasn't had time with him.
But still, she hears her crying outside. She's like crying, laughing, crying. And then she just kind of makes a face like, oh, well.
Yeah.
And even that says how she feels. And yeah, it was like a...
To me,
it changed my opinion on Carly.
It felt like I know from personal experience, in high school, I was bullied a lot, and I feel like she was that girl that, like, the bully to her just got kicked out of school. Like, that's the moment that she felt. So it's like, oh my gosh, like, I have this off, like, I don't know, like, I didn't see it as... I don't think she handled it in the right way, but I understand those feelings.
I think when, like, someone's around in that situation who you find to be fake and, like, putting on a show for The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, it's just a really, really, really frustrating thing, and you never know whether that person's going to see it or not, and she just was relieved that he saw it. But, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, Danny. Like, there didn't need to be so much celebrating, I guess, but...
I'm 100% with what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Because I see why you see that.
Yeah, it's a lot harder when you're in the situation, though.
Yeah.
It's romance on steroids.
You know that person way more than the viewer.
Exactly.
It's also different when it's, as a viewer, which is awful to say, but it's different for them celebrating Kelsey leaving to celebrating Brit leaving. I don't know. It's just...
I actually, when they were celebrating Kelsey leaving, I thought that was really bad. I mean, I know people were like
champagne.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
too much.
like even though it just, it kind of was just like, ooh, too much, But
do you think that actually came from within, from the Bachelorettes themselves, or perhaps maybe, Sean Lowe said it himself this week that they kind of lead.
Oh yeah, they probably started it. Producers probably were like,
the witch is dead.
Have a drink. Kelsey's gone. And then everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah. So, with that said, 5 hours of Bachelor recapped.
Wow.
Good Lord.
We did it, you guys. Look, 1 hour and 5.
Final thoughts before we move on to our special guest. Okay. Let's talk to Samantha.
Let's talk to Samantha.
No, Samantha, once again, thank you for coming in. I mean, how did you come to this conclusion, I'm going to be on the Bachelor? That's what I want to know what drives people to why and what people do.
It's a good question. I don't think I ever would have done something like this, but I was vacationing this summer and saw my family in Florida, and my mom's best friend was like, have you ever thought about trying out for The Bachelor? Because I had gotten out of a serious relationship like 8 months prior and was just single at the time, and I thought, no, I don't think I'd go find love in that way,
Yeah.
And then I got home a week later to LA, and where I live right now, and basically just thought, like, I might as well just look up the audition. It doesn't hurt. And so, and I kind of knew, like, my dad's like, if it's Chris, you should do it, And so, and my family all
so you were going specifically for Chris?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yep.
that's cool.
Yeah,
great.
and I kind of said, like, if it's not him, I don't think I'd really be interested, just because he seemed like such a genuine guy. He is, like, from a small town, and that's what I really liked about him.
That's great.
And so I looked up auditions. It was in Costa Mesa the next day, and I had nothing to do, so 45 minutes away, so I was like, why not? Let's go, you know? Honestly, didn't even think I would get picked
at
all.
That's like fate, almost.
Yeah,
sure.
And like you said earlier in the show, like, everything does happen for a reason, even though you didn't, like, end up with him.
I agree.
You feel...
I have no regrets. It was a great experience, and I have so many good friends.
And now we're in the Bachelor family.
I have a new
That's
friend
the best part. That's the best part. Like, when you start meeting everyone, it's like so fun. There's so much great people.
I'm really glad I did.
I mean, like, not that you weren't a happy, confident person before, but I feel like you're glowing now. Like, that's how I feel.
Thank you. That's so nice.
You really are.
Thank you.
It seemed like overall a very positive experience for you. Now, would you entertain the thought of perhaps coming back for Bachelor in Paradise 2? If they have it, would you come back? If offered.
I think it would depend on when the time is and what's going on in my life, and so maybe.
Well, aside from dazzling us on The Bachelor, what else occupies your time? We know you're a fashion designer. We know that you can't leave your house without lip gloss and your Maltese. And
I don't know. You fill out like a ton of questions. I'm sure you know.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like so random that they picked that. But I do like lipstick and lip gloss, and I do love my dog. Yes, but I do leave the house without it for sure.
But I have to shout you out because you have something that is very, very cool. And I learned about this when we first met. You talked to me about kind of something you're passionate about, which is your brand.
Yeah.
Your clothing brand that you started. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I brought a hat. It's called IDGAF. This is the logo right here, and it stands for I don't give an F. I don't know if I can say that.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
And it's really the symbol to all negativity. So it's F, discrimination, racism, hate, bullying, anything negative.
It's like a positive rebellion.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Exactly. And giving 15% back to charity, and as the company grows, I want to give more and more to charity, and it's just a fun, edgy thing. And
that is so cool.
I've had so much fun with it.
Do you have shirts?
Hats. I do.
Oh my gosh.
IDGAFclothing.com.
I will support you fully.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I'm really busy.
I follow you. Well, I follow you on Instagram. We're friends on Instagram, and I saw you had Nick Cannon was actually wearing.
Yeah.
Was actually wearing that. Yeah. That's just cool.
Awesome.
Like it's cool to see people pick up with the idea of
really
what it's about.
Yeah. I know. It makes me feel accomplished. You know.
That's awesome.
We're getting this odd music that's telling us to wrap, but I'm
cutting us off.
One last question. Wait, who out of the girls do you think could be the next Bachelorette?
Yeah.
I don't think I can answer that because then it would give away who wins, right?
No.
Oh.
I don't know. Okay.
All right.
But it's a good question. I'm sorry.
It's a
I don't
tough
know how
one.
to
It's
answer
tough to
that.
say.
She was trying to pull one out of you there. That was clever.
That was good, Kathy.
But more
Journalist.
importantly, Sammy, where can we find some, all of your clothing and what you're up to, please?
It's idgafclothing.com, so IDGAF clothing.com, and Samantha Steffen _ my Instagram, and Sammy Steffen's my Twitter.
Make a note, fans. Follow her. Check out her stuff. It really is amazing. You're doing great things.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you for coming by. So, guys, we got to wrap
What
up.
a fun show.
Lauren, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at LaurenSOL.
Kathy.
You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley and on Instagram at Cathy Kelley.
And the future Bachelor.
Hashtag Danny for Bachelor.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Danny Hoyt.
Nice. And guys, don't forget, make sure to subscribe. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/AfterBuzz TV, or go to iTunes and SoundCloud to get the audio version. You can follow me at JC Rubio TV on Instagram and Twitter. So for the lovely Sammy Steffen, we have Kathy, Danny, Lauren. I'm JC. See you next week.
See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.